these guys are making moves, man. They're making moves and they're making money doing it.
What's up, guys? And I totally forgot what I was gonna say. What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. In this interview, we dig into what exactly the secret formula is for up-and-coming fighters. Let's check it out.
On the other side of that, as a fellow YouTuber, these guys are making moves, man. They're making moves and they're making money doing it.
For sure.
And so it's kind of, me as a professional athlete, it's like, it's kind of cringe. But on the other side of that, it's business. I understand that. And these guys are making money. You know, not just them as YouTubers and now boxers, but these other guys who have retired, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, giving these guys a shot at making some real money as well.
Anderson Silva,
that's right.
Yeah. I know Vitor's fighting, for sure.
He's fighting
De La Hoya, isn't he?
De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Oh, Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild, man.
Yeah. From YouTube or MMA to boxing, or even now, like we're seeing this, Bareknuckle is becoming a thing where you're seeing all these people, these retired fighters. You got Alan Belcher who's fighting like co-main event. You're seeing a lot of these people. Heck, even the Taylor Starling, who I fought kickboxing match, she's over there on Bareknuckle now. So like, there's a lot. Paige Van Zandt. Is Bareknuckle the last resort, or is it just part of this whole new entertainment aspect? What do you guys think?
I think as a former UFC fighters who have been at the top, I think it's a chance for them to still be relevant. You know what I mean? In the Bareknuckle Fighting, I talked to Thiago Alves actually not too long ago. He's like, to be honest with you, I know it looks violent, but I'm not getting as injured as I was when I was doing MMA.
Wow.
I got injured doing the wrestling. He said he got injured doing the jiu-jitsu, getting arms hyperextended, people yanking on your neck, back hurting. He said, all I got to do now is just focus on boxing, just my hands. I'm not getting thrown around, I'm not getting picked up. I'm not having people chase after my knees. And he said he's feeling great. He loves it. So that was kind of like, now that I look at it, I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. But then at the same time, you're getting a bear. And he actually said, he had mentioned, when you're out there fighting, guys aren't trying to hit you as hard as they can for fear that they will break their hands. So when they're punching you with a soft fist, not a hard fist. So I don't know. He said it's weird. When guys hit him, you're getting cut left and right, which is, I wouldn't want to get. I would not want to. It looks super brutal, right?
Yeah. I saw Killa B after she fought, and I was like, I fought her in the pro kickboxing match in February before COVID, and won against her in the kickboxing match. We fought 5 rounds, and I mean, she was beat up and stuff, but that was brutal looking. I was just like, I felt awful for her.
Well, it's like kind of over the top, It's like, come on, I want to compete, but I want my face to be intact after, after my career.
War scars.
Exactly.
Whenever your career's over, and you get all even though maybe it didn't leave as a long-lasting effect, like people think brain damage and broken orbitals and all that stuff. You're getting sliced, and those scars are going to stay around, and it's going to be
scar tissue too, man. You barely get hit, they're going to open right back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this world now, it's jumped so far in the past 5 to 6 years. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like they just keep adding something else, right? So what's next? You're going to start throwing weapons out in the cage? You know what I mean? Just throw a pair of nunchakus out there, and whoever gets it. Like, when does it stop? But these guys that are going from that YouTube, the Paul brothers, they're getting people paid, and people are starting to open their eyes, especially in the UFC and especially in the heavyweight division. I mean, people want to get paid more. These guys that are on TikTok, and they're making millions. It's ridiculous.
I think what's going on. One thing is that for the longest time, the UFC was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You could only be successful if you were in the UFC, or the world boxing, like, I don't know all the organizations, WBC, or all of the mainstream boxing. That was the only way you could really make a name for yourself. But that's changed so much because of all of the introduction of TikTok and YouTube and how they're just absolutely exploding, and people are realizing, no, we can be successful and make a great living doing other things. You don't have to be a UFC fighter. You don't have to be competing for a world title in boxing. You can just entertain and get people to buy the pay-per-view or to buy tickets, and it could be Bareknuckle Fighting, or it can be, roller skate breakdancing or something. Just as long as you have that brand, that backing, that platform already created, people are going to tune in and pay money to see something happen.
For an up-and-coming fighter, what would you tell that person about social media and presence and brand? Like, what are the most important things that they should keep in mind as they're trying to get to the highest levels that we were just talking about?
Well, notoriety and having a big following before getting in there is huge. I mean, look at Conor McGregor before he even had his first UFC fight. I think he had like 70,000 followers.
No, he had like 150,000.
Was it really 150,000?
Yeah, he was like one of the most famous fighters out of Ireland ever before he even stepped in the octagon.
It does make a huge difference in actually making it. The UFC wants to put their money behind somebody who's got a big backing. I think what kind of helped me with that was, the training with George St. Pierre, the training with Rashad Evans, the sparring sessions I had with Anderson Silva, and, being around that. Of course, not everybody can do that, but the way social media is working nowadays, you'd be stupid not to try and create that big following in those areas. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I would say embrace it, right? I think fighters, in particular, martial artists, kickboxers, boxers, especially MMA fighters, they have this persona, like they need to be tough guys, right? I don't need that. I don't need that wimpy, that social media stuff. I'm just going to beat people up, and I'm going to... Well, there's a lot of people out there who are beating people up, and they're not in the UFC. They're not in these big organizations because, just like you said, the UFC, they want to promote their own brand, and they're not going to put it, unfortunately, behind people who are just good at fighting anymore. And that's been made obvious because of Conor McGregor and Israel Adesanya and these big mega superstars that are coming into the fight game. So as up-and-coming fighters, you got to be willing to embrace that digital media grind, and you got to be willing to, because like you said, it comes back to promoting your brand. One of these days, you're not going to be fighting anymore. That's everybody.
That right there, if anybody is out there and you're not thinking about this as a fighter, you need to be thinking about it. Like one of my major decisions that I just made was like, okay, I've got, 10, maybe 15 years of fight time left. I really don't want to push to 15 years, but this other thing that's a great opportunity is something I put on the shelf because there's not a time frame on it. But fighting has a time frame. What are you going to do after you fight?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and this is absolutely, this right here, this is the future. TikTok
100%.
And digital media, like this is just the way that it is now. And when you're done fighting, if you have that brand built because of fighting, maybe you're a really good fighter and you leverage that to increase your digital media presence. When your fighting is over, you can be thankful that fighting helped build your brand to where it is, but now it's time for that brand, that presence to take over and pay for the bills instead of having to train and fight and really wear yourself out. So it's just about preparing for the future and just trying to take care of yourself after fighting's over.
100%. And with having that social media, you got to have a personality. You got to be willing to find that in yourself. All right, what am I known for? I mean, for instance, Colby Covington, I think when he was getting ready to fight, and I didn't know this, I had no idea until I was on with Joe Rogan. He had told me why he is who he is now. I always hear that he's a super nice guy, but he was getting ready to fight Damian Maia in Brazil. Before that fight, I think Dana White had told him, or UFC said, hey, we're going to cut you after this fight. You're not going to be in the UFC anymore, because he's not the most exciting fighter, and then you saw it during the interviews. He just went that complete bad guy. Like, he told himself, this is who I'm going to be in the media's eye. I'm going to be this bad guy. I'm going to be the guy that everybody hates. or they like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you got to find out who you're going to be, what your personality is like. For me, I can't be that guy. And if I started now, people would just be like, all right, stop, Steven. Like, that's not you.
Yeah.
Well, my personality is, I think I am who I am. Like, I didn't have to create this at all. It's just who I am. But you got to be willing to
kind of figure that out.
And
let it
exactly.
come out. Let it come out in that in that digital side. You got to let it. You don't have to be that tough. Like, let me just post a video of me hitting bags all the time. No, post videos of you being goofy. Post pictures of you, what you enjoy, what your hobbies are. Like, you got to embrace
you being you instead of just
letting people into. And what I hear a lot, especially when it comes to you, when I'm talking to people or I'm reading comments, is like how personable you are. Like, people think that these fighters are these guys who they're untouchable. They're like they have it figured out. They're rigid. They're really cut and dry. But what people love about you, it's like you remind them of themselves, or like what their brother would do, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it, like you said, just figure out who you are, let it come out, let people into your, personal life a little bit. And
I mean, we have a really big school. You guys have a really big school. Teaching hundreds and hundreds of kids has taught me how to be an entertainer, be on stage without having to be an actor, right? Like, I can get kids jazzed up and like through the roof, or I can whisper and they're gonna be hanging on every word. But I learned that from teaching karate to kids. Do you feel like that gives people like me and you more of an advantage before hopping into this world?
100%.
This one,
yeah, go for
100%.
100%.
100%. This guy over here is who he is because of these kids that he teaches. These 5 to 11-year-old kids. They're like flies, man. They're running. They're looking at something to just attack or run and spin and jump and flip. So you got to be quick 100% of the time, or else they're going to get bored and do something they're not supposed to. And this dude does that beautifully, and I cannot. And I get stressed every time he leaves and goes out of town, and I got to teach the kids, because I'm sweating drenched by the end of one class just trying to keep these kids entertained for 45 minutes.
Oh man,
crazy.
But it is, man. It's helped me in so many different ways with media, being in front of the camera, talking in front of people. You're sitting out there, you're taking care of, this family's young kid out there, right? And they're watching, and the parents are watching every move you make, and you got to be comfortable doing what you do in front of that with all eyes on you, right? And parents are watching every move that you make. So it does help you with a little bit of that pressure of being in front of the camera, doing interviews, being that actor or actress, outside of the fight game. I can't tell you how many times I've had to do stuff in front of cameras, modeling or YouTube. It's helped tremendously. So I think we definitely have an advantage over that, just being and knowing how to talk in front of people. And a lot of people they've never done that, and that's a fear for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been a lot of stink lately about fighters like Sean O'Malley. People are like saying, oh, he's not fighting the top, he's not doing what he should be, he won't take these fights because he wants the publicity, he wants the name, his name out there, and he's just taking his time or whatever. But at the same time, like, the people that are calling him out really don't have a lot to offer. So if you're a young fighter trying to build this brand for yourself, should you be conscious of which fights you accept on the way up to the top? Like, how much does that factor in?
Well, I think he's definitely come about this very intelligently.
Hey guys, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you're alerted when part 3 of the Wonderboy interview here on Fight Time is all wrapped up. We're going to be talking about Sean O'Malley and making money after fighting. You don't want to miss it. In the meantime, if you did miss part 1, check it out. Got a couple of videos over here for you. I'll see you guys next time.